are the cars people dream about, the brands that we aspire to own. Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche, Audi, Nissan, Mercedes, McLaren. Driven by some of the world's most highly coveted racers, masters of their trade. Mount Panorama is their place of business. Once known as the Gold Country, now the spiritual home of motor racing for Aussie and international motorsport fans alike. A place where speed and endurance are everything and where drama is routine. Drivers must endure 12 grueling hours of some of the most feared yet respected tarmac. It is a challenge that man and machine struggle to meet.
Oh, there it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4 spins. Oh, it's torrential at the top of the mountain. There's nowhere. And Gisbergen's lost the front end of the Porsche.
A challenge that delivers heartbreak or pure delight. It is a challenge called the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour.
Hi everyone and welcome to Bathurst. Now this is an important part of Australia, not just for motorsport, but it's typical of this part of the world. We're in the central west region of New South Wales. Population of Bathurst is around 40,000, but a couple of times a year it swells. And this weekend is for the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour GT race. Now 2 centuries ago this place was all about gold. Everyone was trying to strike it rich and make themselves famous. Things haven't really changed though. Down the road at the Mount Panorama motor racing circuit, the gold is still being chased. Instead of picks, spades, shovels and pans, they're here with high-tech, internationally regarded GT3 race cars, some of the best drivers, engineers and mechanics from around the world and indeed from here in Australia. The entry list this year is over 40 cars, some of the best names from V8 supercars, some Formula One experienced drivers as well. The level has gone up in 2014. The entry list is a cracker and this race is bound to be this year.
This year's 12-hour field is rich in talent and the number of cars and pilots from overseas has gone through the roof. Defending winners Erebus Motorsport have again entered 2 of the throaty V8 SLS AMG beasts. New V8 supercar signing Will Davison heads one local car, while defending winner Bernd Schneider leads the other, packed full of German talent.
I never compared my titles or winnings. I mean, it's always something special winning such a big event. It's always great to win, and I don't want to compare. Even last year was really hard because we have been here first time. The circuit is very tough to learn, and we won it straight away. I mean, this was something really special, and I don't know if it could be better, but you can ask me after the race.
20 years ago in 1994, John Bowe and Craig Lowndes fought out a Bathurst 1000 that put the latter on the map. Around the same time, Mika Salo was making his Formula One debut in a Lotus. This year, all 3 combine in a Ferrari for the Maranello Motorsport team, and Lowndes is chuffed by the thought of his first ever race aboard a Scarlet Racer.
2 weeks ago, to have a test day at Phillip Island, to feel what the car's all about. It's a rear engine or a mid-engine car like what the Audi is, so the handling of it's very similar, but the cockpit's obviously very different and something that I'm getting used to. Trying to get first gear, you've got to have a clutch in, you've got to put neutral, then you've got to select the gear, and so the process of things is a little bit different, but look, it's amazing. The sound of the engine is like music to your ears. It's got a little bit more horsepower, it's faster in a straight line, so what couldn't you love about it?
A Nissan GTR hasn't been an outright contender on the mountain in a race for over 2 decades, so there are plenty of eyes on the factory Nismo entry featuring Rick Kelly.
Look, it's very special for me to bring back that car to Bathurst in the form that you see it, and you see the photos and the vision from it around the track here, and it's a special moment. I mean, we only have 3 days of track time here, and you know, we're certainly making the most of that. And we're going to be sad when Sunday night comes, knowing that who knows when it will come back again. I certainly want to take that car and put it in my lounge room, but I'm pretty sure that they're not going to let me.
The Phoenix Racing team won this race in 2012 and are back with a gun international lineup featuring 3-time Porsche Super Cup champ Rene Rast, reigning FIA GT champion Lawrence Vanthoor, and the only female in the race, Rahel Frey.
We have a very, very strong lineup. We have a good car, a good team, so the ingredients are there to win this race. But obviously, we have some good opponents which are quite fast, and yeah, of course the race is long. It's 12 hours. Many things can happen in 12 hours, but yeah, the general feeling is very good. When I was a kid, I played this circuit already on the PlayStation, and I always said I would love to race here, and now it's my first time, and it's even better than I expected. The track is just amazing, especially the fast parts are just amazing, and especially with the Audi. Our Audi is quite strong in the fast corners. It's just incredible.
While the winner of this year's race should come from the 15 cars in the outright GT3 class, Class B is a bit more Hollywood, and for good reason. Aussie man of the screen and all-round good guy Eric Banner is back for another taste of the 12-hour, but for the first time in a GT car. If Banner's team want to win Class B, they'll have to topple 2 former Le Mans 24-hour GT winners in Brit Oliver Gavin and American Patrick Long. They've raced V8 supercars on the Gold Coast, but Bathurst has taken a little longer to get to.
Yeah, it's a much different backdrop than the Gold Coast. It's certainly a new exposure to culture in the country. It seems as though the town, similar to Nürburgring or Le Mans, sort of lives for racing and comes alive when a big race such as the 12 hours is in town. So great to be here. Certainly more exposure, the better, to Australia. I love this country, and the racing culture and the people are really cool. It's sort of a blend of the Americans and the Europeans, and they know they're racing, so it's fun.
Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, what a great track. I mean, it's just got everything you want in a racetrack. It's got fast corners, it's got tricky corners, it's got huge elevation changes, it's got things, blind crests, and, walls super close, bit of runoff in places, a great long straight. Really looking forward to the race and what that's going to hold for us. Who knows? It's 12 hours. Every endurance race is sort of a bit of a new book, and you start writing it from hour one, and there's all kinds of experiences and different bits and pieces that will happen, and whether that's something that happens on track or in the pit lane, or something happens with a car or a driver or certain incidents. But yeah, it's always an adventure.
The action started early at the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour, in fact early in practice. After a red flag, an Audi and 2 Ferraris came heavily together at the top of Mount Panorama. The unfortunate victim, Tony D Police and Vicious Rumour Racing. They were out for the weekend after that hit. The AF Corsa car would be repaired and would do more laps later in that day, but it was an early exit for the Melbourne-based Ferrari team that had such high hopes this weekend. The classes and qualifying. Class I for the Mark Ford Focuses. There were 3 of them, brand new global endurance races, and it was the number 70 car that took pole position, with Grant Denyer back behind the wheel, sharing with Adam Gowans, Gary Jacobson and Andrew Miedeke, right on their benchmark lap time in the class of a low 2:15. Class F, appropriately, is the battle of the Fiats, and while car number 96 was second, triple Australian Drivers champion Paul Stokel took the class pole in the 95 car with a time that would have put them in the top 10 outright back in the production car days at Mount Panorama. Class D, the Daytona Coupe, was competitive and second in class with a 2:25.2, but their weekend turned sour with a hefty crash late in the day that would need an all-night rebuild. In Class D, it was the E46 GTR that took pole position. Second place in Class C, which is for GT4 spec cars, was the British-based Motion Sport Lotus Exige. They did a good job, but the Ginetta G50 took the class pole. Carl Reinler doing a good job in the British-built sports car. In Class B, for the slightly older specification GT3 race cars, it was the Rotec Racing Audi R8 LMS that took the class pole, with World Touring Car champion Rob Harfman, four-time Le Mans winner Ollie Gavin amongst a very strong driver lineup. In the outright GT3 class, the action started early. A big crash for V8 ace Jason Wright at the top of the mountain took the Squirk Audi out of the equation. Meanwhile, Mika Salo was the flying Finn early in qualifying on Saturday, taking provisional pole into the 2-minute and 3s for the first time at Mount Panorama. AF Corsa had a big crash and they were out of the running for the weekend. And then this guy fired, Mauro Engel, with a very, very speedy 203.85. Took pole and took the Alan Simonson pole position trophy by just half a tenth of a second. It was a remarkable day of qualifying ahead of the competitive Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hour.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great start to the weekend for all the boys. You know, everyone's done a great job and worked really hard, and all the drivers have turned good laps. You know, really happy my teammates are doing a really good job, pushing really hard as well, and we've done all that without putting a scratch on it, and we start first, so it's a great reward.
Lots of emotion after qualifying. Bruce Morrison from Motoractive and Liqui-Moly presenting the trophy to Erebus Motorsport, the Alan Simonson pole position trophy, or just the Al. And Betty Clemenco went and celebrated with Mark Coffey from Maranello Motorsport. That was the team that Alan Simonson used to drive for.
Such a big event needs such a big sponsor, and there is not one better than Liqui-Moly for this particular event. Bruce Morrison, this is your baby. It's taken on an incredible international flair. What does that mean to you?
Well, it's an exciting time for us. It's only our second year on the event, and it was always an objective to make sure it was seen as an international event. These cars are definitely international. We wanted to make sure people could see what international motorsport really looks like.
Drivers from all over the world have made this their priority. You have American champions, British champions, European champions. What does that mean in terms of making this event more global?
It's incredible, you know. They're probably the best known people that Australians don't know. There's all these names that people don't know, how many championships different people have won and how many titles people hold. And look, I think that's an incredibly exciting thing as an Australian to bring those sort of people to Australia, and they've got that much interest in the race. It's a great time for us.
This has always been a great Australian race, but now it's becoming a great international race. How does Liqui-Moly contribute to that?
Well, look, it's an important thing for us. Liqui-Moly is an international brand. We're a lot of relevance, of course, in motorsport, being a lubricants with oils and additives. But that connection to the rest of the world is a key part of the strategy to build a brand these days. So having it seen across the world is really important to us and very exciting.
So what are the plans to continue this growth into the coming years?
Well, growth-wise, we have a long-term relationship with the promoter of this event, so we see long-term prospects. Everything we go into, we have a long-term view. So we're in this for the long haul, and we see it only getting bigger and better. In
only your second year of Liqui-Moly sponsorship, drivers from all over the world have made this the #1 choice for them to compete in this year.
Not far from green at the Liqui-Moly 12 hour, the field's set for the rolling start. The clock has officially started counting, but we're not officially racing yet until they get the green flag. Burnouts for the Mercedes, we're about ready to go. Here's John Hindhoff.
The safety car is in the pit lane. We are revving up somewhere in the region of 30,000 horsepower. They're being held back on the pit like thoroughbred racehorses as they come down to Maguire's. The clock has already started. The Erebus Mercedes on the inside, heading up to the first left-hander. We're waiting for the green flag, and the 2014 Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hours is... all long hold, now racing, and look at the guys coming up from the back. We said it would be a very slow start indeed. The Nissan gets a good run down the outside there and has to be careful not to be hung out, but everybody makes hell corner for the first time. Look at the Porsche coming through, one of the Class B cars, right through the middle, but it's the Erebus Mercedes from pole position up the mountain straight for the first time.
Nico Bastian, the young German, behind the wheel with Craig Lowndes behind in the Ferrari, up to turn 2 for the first time. There's a battle for third. Clark Quinn, the GT champion of Australia, up the inside of the Nissan and gets the McLaren into third where they qualified. It's Jack LeBrock behind the wheel of the second Erebus Mercedes, 5th in the queue at the moment, holding their position from their qualifying effort. Then a bunch of Audis, they were fighting 3 wide as they got into turn 1, but everyone clean to the top of Mount Panorama for the first time.
The guys were sat down by the race director yesterday afternoon and told in no uncertain terms to behave themselves early on. You're talking to a bunch of sort of bleary-eyed, raring-to-go racing drivers. First thing in the morning, you can see that Mercedes-Benz is very, very low indeed. The sparks coming from the titanium skid plates on the outside edges of the splitter at the front. Mercedes then from Ferrari, from McLaren, then this gaggle of cars from fourth on down. Thought the Nissan has got a good start, but Rick Kelly just dropping back into fourth position as they go across the top for the first time.
Now, happy hour usually is from 5 till 6, the end of the race, but I think the first hour will be happy hour in terms of lap time, because these are perfect conditions for fast lapping of this 6.213 kilometre circuit, with the Mercedes in front, the Ferrari in second, the McLaren in third. This will be a good time to keep check of our lap record. It's 2 minutes and 6.33. set by our late great friend Alan Simonson 2 years ago. Almost a certainty that will go probably within the next 5 laps. We'll keep track on what the tyres and temperatures are doing and see how fast they go.
So coming down to the completion of the first racing lap, remember the 12-hour clock started counting down as soon as the BMW Liqui-Moly pace car started rolling. Fantastic shot looking backwards from the Nissan, I think, as they go across the line and down towards the left-hander, and the first lap time starting to come in. And that is what Rick Kelly is looking back on, and he's pulled a 2 or 3 cars gap there. Down in the Airbus pit lane, the man on the right-hand side is Bernd Schneider, who won every race bar one that he entered last year for Mercedes-Benz. And in endurance racing, that is some record. Those were their closest competitors, the Ferrari team sitting in second. This has been, and I'm going to find some wood and touch it immediately, this has been a really good, fast, competitive but sensible start by everyone. We've got everyone over the mountain for the first time, and now they're head up the cutting on the racing lap number 2. You'll hear us talk about the different classes throughout this 12-hour race. We've got 2 GT3 classes, Class A and B, and basically they're split by how old the cars are. There's a slightly different specification, but we won't bore you with all the technical details. Class C is what is effectively FIA GT4 cars, and then we've got Class D, which are, if you like, more touring-based cars with a 3-litre engine or above, and then a couple of invitational classes where we'll find the Fiat Abarths and the new Ford GTC endurance racing cars, the rear-wheel drive Ford Focus with the big Ford V8 crate motor up front, which is proving such a fan favourite early on this week, right from early on this week here at the mountain.
So the battle for the lead continues, John, but there's racing up and down the field as well. These are the little Fiat 500 Abarths further down the field. But these are surprisingly quick, lapping as quickly as the production cars that won this race in 2007 were going, en route to outright victory. So these aren't slow cars.
Oh, hello, we've got a problem.
Oh, you're kidding.
The Lambo.
It's Peter
Cox, and he's hit something on the mountain.
And we're getting word it could be a kangaroo as well.
Well, there was a word from race control at the start of the race of kangaroos at turn number 9, right at the start of the race, and Peter Cox begins to do some of his... Oh, now he's going to get into some bother for that. I understand why he's done it, but he could have pulled off the track to do it. He's pulled the whole of the front of the car. The cover at the front of the car is being pulled off and left on the circuit, and that may well cause our first full court caution. But it's down the inside, contact the Forest elbow into the Nissan. The Nissan pushed into the BMW, and that is the first bit of robust driving that we've seen in this year's Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hours, and I'm not sure there really that you could call that either way racing incident. The door was left open by Rick Kelly. He takes a slightly wider line.
Here's the look down the inside. So Rick Kelly was trying to avoid the BMW that they were putting a lap on and turned in a little bit late. I don't think there's any fault of Thomas Jaeger there. I think that was just Rick trying to avoid the lap car. Jaeger trying to take the hole and get down the inside, and it turned out it worked. Hopefully they're both okay. Welcome back to Mount Panorama. It's the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour, and things are starting to shape up, even though we're just over an hour into a 12-hour endurance race. Ollie Gavin currently leads in the Audi, but is yet to stop This will be a battle for second on the road eventually. Once all these stops should shake out, it's Clark Quinn in the McLaren versus Thomas Jaeger in the H2P Mercedes, and this is shaping up to be a cracking race.
Where is the 88? Craig Lowndes was into the pits in second place. John Bull took it over, and he's down in 7th position. 7th position, and that is what the difference of a 10 seconds or so can make. Here's the battles going on up the mountain.
Yeah.
And that is a change of position. The Audi has gone through, and John Bow loses another position. It's 8:30 in the evening in London at the moment, or further afield. And I know there's an awful lot of you in America watching this, loving the time zone differences. Well, welcome along to what apparently is going to be another one of these endurance races that is flat out from start to finish. Oh. And here's an opportunity for Richards. He gets right into the draft. It's a big hole in the air made by the GTR, waving left and right as the other Audi is not in that fight. It's going a lap down towards the right-hander at the end of Conrod Straight. Now Richards is lined up there. He's got the main beam on. That's worth 2 or 3 kilometres an hour, surely, as he comes down. Oh, it's great driving by Rick Kelly, though. He knew there that he was there. Now, that answers my question, Crazy. Rick Kelly does not want to give that position up. He wants to be the master of his own destiny.
Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with a straight line poke of the GTR either.
Oh, well, and there's another problem for the Clearwater Ferrari. We're just going to have a report from the pits. That's right up at the top of the hill. And there's fluid on the circuit there. Fluid on the circuit from the Clearwater car. And in that dust, there's another car got into him. And he slid straight into it. There's carnage at the top of the mountain here. I think that was the Nissan going off as well. But there's clearly some fluid down there on the racing line, and a huge dust cloud at the top of the mountain. There are 2 cars in there. One of them is the 33, full course caution number 3.
Massive impact.
Liqui-Moly 2014 Bathurst 12 hours. And the Clearwater car, having spun on its own fluid or someone else's, has been picked up by another car. It's Hamaguchi at the wheel of that car. It's scored in 12th position at the moment, and their tactics were paying off beautifully. This is going to take some clearing. Hamaguchi gets out the car under his own steam, and I'm so pleased to see that.
That was a massive impact. Remember, top of the mountain, 5th gear in one of these cars, absolutely flat at 220 kilometres an hour, and a car stranded facing the wrong direction. So, and it's the Nissan.
I knew it was the Nissan. It's the Nissan, and it's ripped off the right rear. It was the Nissan that hit it. I thought that as soon as I saw it go through, it was the shape of the car. It's been in the gravel. It's carried on for a few hundred metres, but the Nissan is out. The return to the mountain after 22 years, the odyssey for the Nismo Digital Age Performance Global Athlete car has come to a crashing end.
So let's have a look. So Hamaguchi, the Japanese driver, has already had his crash coming onto McPhillamy, and he's whacked that car against the wall. It's broken the radiator at the front, and it's dropped fluid. So he's spun on his own fluid, and everyone else taking evasive action. A couple of Porsches got through. The Nissan, however, unfortunately, did not. So the Pirelli outright leaderboard shows Bernd Schneider leading the way from Rene Rast in the Phoenix Racing Audi 2nd, and Richard Means in the Class B GWS Audi running in 3rd place ahead of John Bow and Shane van Gisbergen 4th and 5th. Eric Lutz climbing up the order for United Autosport, the number 25 car into P6 and going nicely in front of Rosserly, Will Davison, Devarshan, Padiachi and Mark Eddy rounding out the top 10. The Michelin Class leaderboard has Bernd Schneider on top, Daniel Gauntz leading the way in Class C, Michael Lyons in Class D, Paul Gaver, the motoring journo in the Fiat, leads the way in that class battle, with Gary Jacobson on top. The Battle of the Mark focuses in Recaro Class I.
It's the Lambo that's at the top of the hill again.
That's the Stephen Richards, David Wood car, Ross Lilly behind the wheel, 8th place car in the wall.
He'd just been passed by the leaders and gone offline at that part of the circuit. I wonder if he dirtied up his tyres and then could not manage to make, that is such a quick part of the circuit, could not manage to make the double left.
So here's a look what happened at the top. Leaders go by. There you go. That's a massive hit.
And that's driver's
scary
side.
Fast. So he got out the way. We called it. We watched it happen as the 2 leaders went by Ross Lilly and the Lamborghini to put them a lap behind. Right, here's what's going to happen in the next 4 or 5 laps. Will Davison and Van Gisbergen will clear these slower class cars in front. Then they will get to the back and pass these two. Lux up the inside of Peter Edwards and another Audi as well. Be careful, Pete. Keep it on the black stuff.
That's a change of position there.
That is for second place, but these two drivers do not have the raw speed that Van Gisbergen and Davison have. So they will get to the back of them very, very quickly and should get themselves up further up the order. So there is the Dyson battle for 4th and 5th. And they're very, very quick at this point in time, so they will catch. Now Peter Edwards around the outside. Van Gisbergen sweeps around Davison and gets the position.
That was interesting, wasn't it? You don't normally see a pass into the braking area for the S's, but once again, opportunist tactics have to be undertaken here when you've got multi-class racing. You take what you can get when you can get it.
We take a look back a little bit. This is Ben Barker in the Grove Racing Porsche.
11th position overall, by the way.
Teaming with Earl Bamber and Stephen Grove, the owner driver. It's Grovey races Carrera Cup for full-time in his racing at least. Behind them, Devarshan Padiachi, who is a regular in Porsche Carrera Cup Australia. His dad, Indran, running the second of 2 cars from the Rent Corp squad. Now, Devarshan running 8th at the moment, and, believe it or not, leading Class B.
Yeah, that's because Ricard Means has done another pit stop in the 14 car. We saw him up as high as 3rd position. Ollie Gavin had the car at the lead of the race, but that 14 Audi has dropped back, having had an extra pit stop.
Let's look back. Class C, thanks to Ridges, where we're taking these pictures from right now appropriately. The little Ginetta, haven't seen too much of the Ginetta brand in Australia. 3 or 4 of them run regularly in Aussie GT racing, but this car's performed very, very well. Daniel Gaunt behind the wheel, the young Kiwi, who's a go-to driver in V8 Supercar co-driving, runs in the New Zealand Super Tourer Series. There's Mark Griffith running in this car. He's the major sponsor and driver of that. He's been running with Jack Perkins in this car last year. Jack not available for this race because he's become a full-time V8 Supercar driver once again, but they've drafted in Carl Reiner and Daniel Gaunt in a very strong performance.
Now this is Class D, the venerable E92 BMW N3. It's not really an endurance race, multi-class endurance race, if you haven't got a variety of BMWs in here. This car has been leading this class for quite some time. The Abarth 500s leading their class, of course, and there is the best of the 3 of them. Really interesting project, this, by Fiat Chrysler. And mentioned this yesterday, but I'll say it again for the new audience. Well done to Fiat Chrysler. They sent out a note to all the marshals around here with a care package, including a floppy hat and some drinks and some sun lotion as well. Said we know the speed differential to our cars might be causing you 1 or 2 issues and a bit of flag waving, so accept this care package on our behalf. And I thought that was a great touch by Fiat Chrysler Australia. And this is a really interesting, very interesting project that we're seeing. This is the Mark Focus GTC. Looks like a Ford Focus, is a Ford Focus from the outside, but underneath, a fire-breathing 5-litre V8 driving the rear wheels.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a road-going Ford Focus got together with a GT3 car, and this was the resulting offspring. It's a cool thing. This is the number 70 car at Leeds, the Invitational class. Gary Jacobson behind the wheel. Gary's a tremendous little steerer. He's an ex-Formula Ford racer, and he's done a bit of other stuff, but not a huge amount, but very experienced in Formula Ford.
4.5 hours into this race, and the battle for the lead is on full gas Mark 9. Now the GTC Ford. He gets the block. He gets the block from the Ford, and then the Benz gets it back side by side through the dimmer. That doesn't work. Physics doesn't allow that to happen.
That's never been done. That's astonishing from Van Gisbergen. How he kept it out of the fence, I don't know, but he got boxed in by the Mark Focus and holds on to 2nd place, but was inches away from fixing that car. That was hairy, and there's just nothing you can tell these drivers. 4.5 hours into a 12-hour race, and they're fighting for the lead like it's a 2-lap sprint race.
Expecting Bernd Schneider in at the end of the next lap, lap 108. They're working 107 at the moment as they're down through the chase again and down towards Riders, the hotel that was built here a few years ago and on which we are looking from our camera at the moment.
Here he goes.
Oh, the guys down at the Chicane Bar and Restaurant getting a fantastic look at the battle for the lead down into Maguire's for the 107th time, and still he can't get it done. Bernd Schneider doing enough, just enough, but still leads the motor race as they head up the mountain one more time.
Watch him at turn one, try and fire one down the inside at Hell Corner, not quite. Work the toe, get a good exit of the corner, and use that Mercedes to pull the McLaren up the hill. That's what Van Gisbergen needs if he wants to try and fire one down the inside at turn two at Griffin's Bend at the top of Mountain Straight.
He's got half a chance.
Fifth gear now as they rise over the crest, just touch the limiter before they turn in.
He's
around the outside.
He's let him go. He let him go. There was a lift there from Bernd Schneider. He let the McLaren go because he's coming in at the end of the lap. No doubt in my mind at all he went defensive there, but then he lifted and let the McLaren go.
Mika Salo is now behind the wheel of the number 88 Maranello Ferrari. Peter Edwards out, Salo in. So they're in.
Oh, the leaders hit
Van Gisbergen.
Van Gisbergen goes for a gap that wasn't there. Mika Salo had nowhere to go, and that is the other side of Shane Van Gisbergen. Yes, he's great, but he didn't need to do that. He's coming to a pit stop. There's a wry shake of the head down in the pit lane. That was something that could have cost him the race.
Oh,
could have cost him the race. Never mind the lead.
Unbelievable stuff. That was the closest you can get to destroying a McLaren.
Well, he had a crash there. He just didn't hit anything. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
That's just, I don't know what to say. That's remarkable. And Schneider going, well, what are you doing, you crazy New Zealander in front of me, just trying to dive up the inside. Now he goes down the finish ace, the XF1 Ferrari driver, side by side, 285 through the kink.
And did you see
and
that,
it's clear?
Did you see that Bernd Schneider had braked and lifted off? He wasn't having any part of that going there.
Absolutely not.
And let's get down to the pit lane.
Yeah, the Mercedes #1 car comes into its pit garage right now. I can tell you how keen Maro Engel was to get in this car. Two crew members were holding him behind the red line. It's Schneider that hops out of the car. The belt's going on. They're going for a full tank of fuel, as you would expect, but brand new sticker tyres will go on this car, so it'll have plenty of grip for the opening couple of laps and been setting themselves up for a long run here. On the previous pit stop for the sister car, a little bit slow for Greg Crick. He had radio communication issues. They had to reconnect his two-way, cost him a little bit of time. So far, this pit stop, nice and smooth. Driver in, locked away, fuel in, now the tyres are about to go on. As I said, brand new sticker tyres. The battle in pit lane is for the race lead. The McLaren still sitting down there at the moment, up in the air on its jacks. Front tyres going on or in fact, right-hand side tyres going on. Now they go across to the left-hand side. Left hand's come off, and the new one's being put straight on. The McLaren is down on the ground. This car's still in the air, fires up the motor. Let's see what they can do. Who's going to lead out of the pits? It's going to be the Mercedes. Takes the lead in pit lane, effectively anyway, as he goes out. Maro Engel comes out to rejoin the circuit as the Erebus crowd give themselves a round of applause.
It's been so competitive, but they're back in the game. Maro Engel leads on the Pirelli class leaderboard here at the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour. Andrew Cocotti second in the McLaren. Audi third. Has the variety in this field. Mika Salo only 7th at the moment in the Maranello Motorsport Ferrari, but they are still in contention in this race. Maxi Book, we saw there, 8th place for HTP in front of the first of the Class B cars for GWS personnel. That's Barton Moore in the Ting BRM RentCorp Racing Porsche, and CJ David Calvert-Jones just behind. Michelin class leaderboard, we see the battles with Griffith still leading the way in Class C in the Ginetta. The Fiat continuing to pound around, and Andrew Medicki, one of the greats of this place, leading the way in the Mark Focus in Recaro Class I, going very nicely indeed. The Fiat still looking very reliable and very strong as well. So racing up and down the field in the Liqui-Moly 12-hour. There's dramas for the Lotus Exige from Donut King Racing as we jump to a break. We're only half an hour away from half race distance at the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour. Welcome back to Bathurst, to dramas for the class-leading Porsche. It's off at the chase. The 45 car, Devash and Padiacci, had done such a good job. They were leading their class, and they are off in a big way at the chase. We're just about to plug Aaron Noonan into the commentary box for the lunchtime stint, but the class leader's stuck in the sand.
Let's have a look at this. This is not where you want to have any issues. Long pedal, pump, 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 then lock the rear brakes.
Throw it at the sand trap. Look at it, just launched over the grass, ends up in the sand trap on the other side. It's about now he knows, oh, hang on, this is where he's on the brake. There's nothing there to play with. throw it left, fire it away. Dangerous to go into the sand sideways because it can dig in. We've seen cars launch there over the last few years in V8 supercars. He's very, very lucky.
And that is the invitation class leader.
And selecting reverse and then first gear and driving off and avoiding a safety car. Now, we've not seen much drama at Falcon Elbow, have we? We saw Thomas Jaeger dive down the inside of the Nissan earlier on, but outside of that, good recovery though. Just the flare on the side there, a bit of bodywork coming off, but they'll head to pit lane and get that fixed.
Is that a black flag that we are seeing on the start-finish line?
It's a black flag and a number being held out, yeah.
We will see in a moment what that is, because they are very...
88.
Oh my goodness, it's the race leader! The race leader, the drama continues. We've just lost the #1 car with brake problems, and now, all of a sudden, Craig Lowndes has been given the black flag. We've know not for what at the moment, but the drama continues. 3 hours, 45 minutes and 50 seconds to go, and the number 88 is being held out over the start-finish line by our volunteer marshals, and thanks to them, there goes the 37 car through. And where is Lowndes? Has he already gone through?
Have a look, right-hand side of screen, you can see the pit board resting against the side of the garages. Now, if that hasn't been removed when this car is released, that is a penalty, because you are not allowed to leave anything the working side of pit lane. So this is a replay, looking at the stop, personnel over the line, but the board didn't go back. That's why there's a penalty. Now, the number 50 car, this is the Mark Focus, an Aussie-built enduro racer, has spun at the Falcon Tyres elbow, right at the top of Mount Panorama, just before you run down onto Conrod Straight.
Yeah, he's facing the wrong direction. You just got a clue there with one of the cars going back. We've seen 2 issues for these cars. The first time that car rolled away, this time that's not going to happen. The right front of that car is not how it came out of the shop. And I'm not a suspension engineer, but I don't think that's the right amount of camber, and I expect to see the BMW M5 safety car roll, and there is the confirmation on the start-finish line in front of us, and on the top of the screen, the safety car rolls for the 8th time in the 2014 Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hours.
We're a long way short of the record number of safety car interventions, but this is why we're under caution. The Phoenix Audi charged down the inside. There just wasn't a hole. The Mark Focus was driving down the middle of the road. Probably didn't give a huge amount of racing room, but gee, the Phoenix Audi was coming through regardless, and it's just fed the Focus into the wall.
And listen to the engine, feather on, feather off, and look how quick he comes to the scene of the accident we watched earlier on. Wait for the grid on the right-hand side, turn in now. And it's just a lift there and back on the throttle. That is awesome from Mika Salo. This man knows how to pedal. Down through the gearbox, hit the curb on the left, mind the wall on the right, you get close to it but not too close. Dropping down into the dimmer, down into the gear. Quick squirt of power, get the car settled down, down to the forest elbow coming up on the left-hand side. Now brake down, 1, 2 gears and turn in.
And onto Conrod Straight, which in these cars, they're not actually as fast as a V8 supercar in a straight line, but you wait till you see how late they brake at the very end of it. So paddle shift gearbox, you can see Mika picking gears. He's closing right into the leader. So grab 6 gear as they get to the crest, and then they run down to the chase. 275, 280. They'll just be touching 285 now. Still flat, still flat, still flat. Wow. Brake at 170 metres and down to 3rd gear and get it turned in at the top of the hill. He's looming ever closer to our race leader, Greg Crick. This is now a battle of 3. This is impressive stuff from Maximilian Buch, the young German, has hauled this HTP car along with his teammates Harold Prima and Thomas Jaeger right into this, and Mika Salo's in trouble. He's harassing the back of Crick more so than ever because he knows the straight line potential of the car behind him.
And he had to get out of the throttle there in the middle of the corner. He was on it early, thought he was going to get a run down the inside. He had to back out of it, and that could be curtains for the Ferrari in second. Watch that light-coloured Mercedes-Benz. That's the Erebus Racing pit. It's now not just about first and second, it's about first, second and third, down through the chase. And this is the battle for the lead. 3 cars, 2 Mercedes-Benz, 1 Ferrari, 1 former Formula 1 driver, a European touring car and endurance champion, and a car dealer.
And while they do this, as Buch looks down the inside,
Got
this
him.
is for second.
Nailed it, absolutely nailed it. Maximilian Buch comes back, just rolls off the brakes as he goes to the apex, and And Mika Salo will not be best pleased about that, but what he will try and do is hang on to the back of that lighter coloured Mercedes-Benz and try and use him to drag him back to the leader and then maybe get them both in one swift manoeuvre.
I don't think the 88 car is racing the 63, and a gesture from Salo. What's going on? I'm frustrated. I don't have enough straight line speed to challenge these SLSs at Mount Panorama. That's why they're such a good package. Middle of screen, middle of that row. That's Jeremy Moore with a hat on. Craig Lowndes, full-time engineer in V8 Supercars. He's running strategy for Maranello this weekend.
And coming down to Maguire's the final corner, Maxi Burke. This is where he got second place, and this is where he gets the lead. Thank you very much indeed. And how frustrating is that going to be, watching on from behind for Mika Salo, because he's tried lap after lap, but Greg is not giving up, is he? Greg Crick. Oh, there was a touch there. That was very close indeed, going into Hell Corner. It's not going to do anything for Mika Salo's mood to see just how easy Maxi Burke got down the inside, and he hasn't been able to get anywhere near the back of that green and black machine.
250 laps now in the books of the Liqui-Moly 12-hour with an hour and 40 to go. That's the key number. We don't need to look at laps in this race. It's all about time and working backwards, boxed in behind a lap car. Mika Salo will try and get the toe from the Porsche. Now he pulls in behind Greg Crick down Conrad. This has to be his best opportunity to get past this pesky SLS AMG. And the place to do it is at the chase.
But Greg Crick's done his job. He's held the lead. He's done exactly what he wanted. He hasn't allowed the Ferrari to go by and get a lead. I think you pull him in now and put in one of the other drivers and let them run the hour and 40 minutes to the end of the race. Does he go into the pit lane? He's over to the left-hand side of the circuit. No, he stayed out this time. And surely the Ferrari must be able to get down the inside this time. He's nowhere near. And how annoying is that going to be for Mika Salo? He's still there, though. Look at the right-hand side. The Mercedes-Benz pulls away. He was halfway alongside coming out of Maguire's, but he can't get into position to pass. Yes, he can! Comes from way back, Mika Salo, pulls the old over and under and gets through into second place. And there's a huge cheer down in the Maranello Motorsport pit.
Great stuff from the former Finnish F1 driver. Down the inside, couldn't get it done, but then used the strength of the Ferrari under brakes and fired it up the inside at turn one. Great, close, hard racing in the dying stages of the 12-hour. And just brilliant stuff from Salo. Greg Crick was awesome, though, and used the strengths of his car to defend as well as he possibly could. Here's the Ferrari, pulled back in, got a bit of toe, and then pulled out and just sent it. Down the inside it goes. Great stuff. Well, they really are back in the game in this motor race. It's a fantastic performance from HTP Motorsport, the Pirelli outright leaderboard. Let's look a little bit further back because there's been some great performance here. Marcus Winkelhock, the ex-F1 driver, doing a great job for United Autosport. They're in P6 at the moment. El Bamba behind the wheel of the Grove Porsche going well, and they're leading Class B for GWS personnel. Tony Alford going well in the Lotus, now on top in Rich's Class C. Ben Schutz behind the wheel of the Daytona Coupe, and they're looking good indeed for Century Batteries. Eddie behind the wheel of the Fiat, they're leading the way. Car number 96 for Chrysler Group Financial, and Andrew Medicki behind the wheel in Recaro Class I. So 38 minutes to go. This race evolving. This is for track position between Lawrence Van Thorp, the GT World Champion, and Shane Van Gisbergen, the World Champion of Excitement here in the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12-hour. It's been exciting stuff. Craig Lowndes leads the race by 30 seconds.
Now, this is what happened to the leader a couple of moments ago. This is how close things can be on the mountain. I'm going right, I'm going left, and he's right across the grass. How does Craig Lowndes hold onto that? I just want to have a look at the back, the white colour on the back of that Maranello Ferrari, because a couple of pit stops ago, they're laughing now. They wouldn't have been if he'd gone into the wall. Phew, I bet you Lowndes he's not laughing.
Oh, Porsche in the wall at the top of the mountain. Massive impact. That's just coming over the hill on the run to McPhillamy Park, and there's fluid and debris everywhere. Car stranded, and this could be a critical moment in the race with Maxi Book closing in on the race leader. This could close it right up for a safety car induced sprint to the flag.
The M5 is in the pit lane. There's no issue about him overtaking that car as he comes down to Maguire's. He's got the drop, and the two Fiats come into the pit lane. That's great news for Maxi Burke and everybody who's coming through behind him. Big applause from Maranello Motorsport on the pit wall. Maxi Buck then in second place. He is charging up. Shane van Gisbergen, there he is in the McLaren going across the line. Heck, the speed on the start-finish straight when you see it from that whip pan on the camera. They are really hauling up Mountain Straight again. And the great thing for Craig Lowndes is the fact that there's 5 cars on the lead lap. He's not just racing one car, he's racing 5, but they're all racing each other as well. And already Shane van Gisbergen is on the back of the 63 car, and he's coming down the hill now, down from the top of the mountain. He can't afford to be patient. He's got to make the moves. This is like one of those challenges on a video game when you know you've only got a certain amount of laps and you've got to get by. There's going to be paid traded. There could be no quarter asked or given here, and Will Davison will know that. He's got a fast car in a straight line, and that's going to be the issue for the McLaren. We saw the Ferrari had trouble with the Mercedes-Benz earlier on. Has the McLaren got anything more in a straight line?
Unbelievable battle,
wow.
And that it comes down to this is incredible. And Lowndes is right on the ragged edge through the kink in the chase, and look how close the SLS gets. If Lowndes can beat him off the mountain on the final lap of this, he'll be a chance because he'll drive that thing down the middle of the road. But if Maxi gets a run, it might be too tough for him to hold on.
Don't forget, we've seen the Mercedes-Benz changing the brake pads, and that may well be the difference in these cars, because I've been surprised at the pace of that Maranello Ferrari, but look at how much later that Mercedes-Benz is braking, and that, which I thought had taken them out of the lead, that might be the master stroke. We didn't know it at the time, and all of a sudden, it's coming to that HTP Mercedes-Benz as they go up the mountain straight. The leader is going to have to stay driver's right and send him the long way around into Griffin's Bench. Surely he can't go from that far around. They're side by side. He's gone through. He noses into the lead, but the Ferrari has the racing line and there's no way through. Racing Room, Aston Given, brilliant stuff from 2 top drivers, Craig Lowndes and Maxi Buck. Inches from disaster, but fight on into the last 5 minutes.
Here's the move. This is Van Gisbergen trying to make a hole where there wasn't one.
Tried to go down the inside in the faulted tyres, hairpin, and nearly gets pushed into the wall. Don't forget the timing glitch on that 63 car. We need to always confirm those positional changes by seeing it on the track, because they lost their transponder when they lost most of the right-hand side bodywork of that car. It hasn't slowed them down. The lap traffic stays to driver's right, and Craig Lowndes has got breathing room. It's 18:11, 2 more minutes, and then 1 more lap. After that, there's 2 more laps left of the motor race. It'll be laps 2:96, I think, as they go through. Paul Truswell nods. This is the battle for the final step on the podium. We are on the last lap. Did we see the last lap ball go out? We got 1 more. I think this is the last lap. 2:95.
18:13 plus 1. Here goes Book. He'll try around the outside again, but Lowndes drives it down the middle of the road. He'll hold on.
Lowndes, he's got to be getting the power on nice and smoothly, and he does exactly that. I'm seeing one of the last 2 corners for the Mercedes-Benz using the additional braking power that he's got. He's got to be right there. I don't think he's quite got the power. They've really turned up the Maranello engine on the bright red Ferrari. Craig Lowndes actually has done all right after the safety car period, saved a bit of fuel, and here comes the issue again. It's going to be down to the traffic. It's the Donut King Lotus and holds up the leader, but once again Lowndes positions his car right in the middle of the road, but here comes Burke round the outside into Brock Skyline. Last lap, half a lap to go for 2014 in the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 hours.
Spare a thought for Peter Edwards, who's put a lot of his own money and time into building his program with Mark Coffey at Maranello Motorsport. And what about John Bow and Mika Salo, the Flying Finn, who's done an outstanding job all weekend?
People are on the walls applauding this battle for the lead, and we're not over yet. The marshals are watching this just as much as we are. Down Conrad Straight for the final time. There's a third of a lap and 3, possibly only 2 outbraking manoeuvres left for Maxi Buck, and Craig Lowndes is putting it all on the line. This is for a Ferrari win. They've never won here. Maranello Motorsport, the emotions running high. This is Alan Simonson's car. Can they get this to the line? There's 1 more heavy braking down into Maguire's for the final time. The teams are on the pit wall, and he's not coming from that far back. He's not coming from that far back. Craig Lowndes brings home Alan Simonson's Ferrari and wins the Liqui-Moly 12 hours for 2014. Bathurst delivers.
The margin 4/10 of a second. 4/10, John Hindhoff and Paul Truswell, after 296 laps and 1,835 kilometres of the best racetrack in the land.
You just won the 12 Hours of Bathurst. You suffered through penalties. You've gone through it all, but congratulations, you are the winner.
Yeah, well, we are the winners, the Marinello team. Those two guys, Craig and Mick, are unbelievable. Pete Edwards is a fantastic guy, fantastic driver. He's getting better all the time, and everybody that supports us. Two guys came from Italy to help us out, so like it's pretty amazing.
We'll go celebrate on the podium, John.
Okay, thank you.
Great stuff. Let's find out who finished where and take a look at our class results. So after a record-breaking day on the mountain, it was a record-breaking margin of victory for Il Bellerosso Ferrari and Maranello Motorsport. 0.4 of a second, the final margin between the Ferrari and HTP Motorsport Mercedes-Benz at the finish line. Erebus Motorsport were home in third place ahead of the amazing McLaren of VIP Pet Foods Racing and Darrell Lee, with Phoenix Racing rounding out the top 5 in their Audi. In Class B, it was a fluctuating battle. The Grove Group Porsche got home at the end ahead of the Icebreak Porsche in second. Class C, it was the Donut King Lotus that took the glory. The Seat Preserved in Class D, and Luke Jordan's Fiat won their battle of the Fiats in Class F. Meanwhile, 15th outright was a great result for the Mark Cars Australia Focus, led by Grant Denyer. Let's go to the podium. Here's Aaron Noonan.
In third place, the Mercedes and Erebus Motorsport, Greg Crick, Jack LeBrock and Will Davison. In second place, coming from Germany, the HTP Mercedes-Benz team. What a race at the end. Maxi Book, Thomas Jaeger, last year's winner, and Harold Premat. And the winners, Ferrari has conquered the mountain. Maranello Motorsport, Mick Asalo, Peter Edwards, John Bow, and Craig Lowndes. Craig, come on in. We're running short on time. One quick question. Wow.
Look, it's a great honour to be part of the Ferrari guys, and obviously they were here this weekend for Al, and you know, we did him proud, I think, at the end there. It was a hell of a battle. But look, to say hello to Levi and Chili back at home, but yeah, look, it's a great race. I'm looking forward to next year already.
Well done. Ferrari win at Bathurst in the Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 Hour. It's time for the traditional spraying of the champagne. Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 Hour. Ferrari have conquered the mountain. Craig Lowndes finally adds a 12-hour title. He tried with Audi a few times, he never got there. John Bow has won another Bathurst crown. And what about Peter Edwards too? And Mick Asalo, all the way from Finland, picks up a trophy here at the mountain. What a special day it is for Maranello Motorsport and everybody involved. What an amazing race. We'll see you in 2015.
The 2014 Liqui-Moly Bathurst 12 Hours is all long hold, now racing. Ball's down the inside, contact, fronts the block. He gets them, this carnage at the top of the mountain here. On the leaders, Hidden Gisbergen.
To dramas for the class-leading Porsche.
Does there's another car got into him. The lap car, Mick Asalo will try and get the time from the Porsche. Yes, he can. Comes from way back, Mick Asalo. Far back, Craig Lowndes brings home Alan Simonson's Ferrari and wins the Liqui-Moly 12 Hours for 2000.